Well, tonight, 16 days after Senate Republicans shot down the first set of proposed redistricting maps, we're getting a look at the new maps legislators will vote on. Those maps released this morning by the Legislative Services Agency. They're coming out far ahead of the 35-day deadline. And Local 5's Mary Sugden laying out the big changes a week out from the major vote.
Senate Republicans had two main issues with the first draft: the compactness and population deviation. In real-world terms, this means Republicans wanted the districts to have the same amount of people in them, and they wanted them to look more uniform. In the 2 weeks since Republicans critiqued the maps, state staff went back to the drawing board. So what's different round two? To start, let's look at the congressional map. District 1 has the most growth, adding 8 counties. Shrinking the most, District 4, which lost 8, but it gets Story County back. Both the House and Senate district maps look a lot different than the first version, which means if approved, your ballot could look considerably different. According to the LSA, draft number 2 creates 10 open seats. For example, in the Senate, it puts 20 incumbents against one another, breaking down to 2 sets of Democrats running for a seat, 5 sets Republicans, and 3 races where a Democrat and Republican would face off. Here's what one metro race would look like. In the 16th district, Democrat incumbents Claire Celsey and Trone Garriott would battle for the same seat if they both choose to run and if this map's approved. But political analysts say incumbents forced to face off for the same district isn't new.
We have this every 10 years. And so the question is there a lot of it? I mean, I think we had 65 members thrown in districts with people in the first map. I would expect this to be much lower than that, but it's still going to happen. But if you're dropping it from 65 to say 25, I think that's quite an improvement.
It's actually good for a party that's trying to reach more voters and constantly trying to figure out how to talk to people, how to win votes, because you can't just fall back into a complacency of, well, we know we have this, this, and this. You know, if it makes some incumbents talk to some new people, I think that's both obviously good for the democracy, but it's really good for a party, too.
For the next 7 days, the state waits. Lawmakers are expected back at the State House in a week to consider the changes to the second proposal before ultimately deciding its fate. Mary Sugden, Local 5 News, We Are Iowa.
The chair of the Iowa Republican Party, Jeff Kaufman, issuing a statement. He says Iowans can have confidence that redistricting will be transparent and fair, regardless if you live in an urban center or on a family farm. We reached out to the Iowa GOP today asking who they might run in Iowa's 1st Congressional District should the maps be approved. We did not get an answer. So what happens next? Well, lawmakers need to wait a week before the second special session where they will vote on the maps. The proposal will first go to the Senate, and if it's approved, it will then go to the House for a vote. If both chambers pass the maps, they'll go to Governor Reynolds' desk. If not, a third and final proposal will start. Lawmakers would have the ability to make amendments to the final map.